The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
There goes that man's jock strap. Oh my God, did you see that?
America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports.
There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship.
Green Bay's got it this year.
Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast.
The In a League of Their Own podcast is brought to you by Golf Kicks. Screw your shoes. By Canadips. Rep Sports. By Smooth My Balls. And by Streamer Loot. Check out the In the League of Their Own merch line today. Welcome to the show. Let's see what Austin and Collin are diving into today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 87 of the In a League of Their Own podcast. Kicking off today's episode with our sports fact, taking us back to the 1983-84 NHL season, the great one, Wayne Gretzky scored a league-high 87 goals. This is number 2 on the all-time list, only behind himself, when 2 years prior he netted 92 goals on the year. So shout out to the great one.
Yeah, he basically has every hockey record.
Yeah. I know when I was kind of looking for today's fact and looking at some stuff, and like when this one pulled up, like some of his other stats pulled up, and it's like, holy fuck, it's like kind of like Tom Brady with quarterback records. You look at NHL records, it's Gretzky.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, then jumping into NFL for today, what do you got?
Well, biggest news coming out of the NFL today, TJ Watt was at practice. He did participate in team drills, and Ben Roethlisberger came out after practice and told the media that the Steelers should pay TJ Watt whatever he wants. He's super valuable to this team, and he performs to a level that most people don't. So I feel like that team either is going to have to capitalize on giving him a long-term deal. Otherwise, I could see him potentially walking out and testing free agency after the season's over to get a big bag.
Yeah, it's still surprising how they haven't figured that out with him. I mean, good to see that he's on the practice field and he's expected to start on their season opener on Sunday. So at least there's not like he's not holding out or anything by any means, but at the same time, the longer you let it go, you could be tarnishing that relationship between the player and the organization if you don't fix things sooner than later and make sure you do it right.
Well, they have a couple days to where if he doesn't have a contract signed, he ain't getting paid. You know what I mean? So I feel like him showing up today at practice, I bet they have something in the works that they're just waiting that both players, that they probably just have to sign and get it in. But yeah, it's interesting to see that it took this long, a couple days before the season, to get their top defensive player re-signed on their team.
Yeah, I mean, behind Aaron Donald, TJ Watt is the next name that comes up as probably the second best defensive player in the league right now. So yeah, hopefully they get him inked soon before the end of the week and figure things out. But the NFL is a business at the same time, so you never know which way it's going to go sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of you never knowing how it's going to go, Le'Veon Bell is now added to the Baltimore Ravens practice squad as of early this morning. And they're supposed to have him on the roster, the game day roster, by Sunday.
Yeah, obviously a good move for the Ravens, losing Justin Hill and J.K. Dobbins within literally a week of each other. So obviously it's a no-brainer to bring in somebody, and obviously with names out there like Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Smith.
I'm surprised they didn't stop on that and go get Jamal Murray right away.
Latavius Murray, you mean?
Or fuck yeah, Latavius Murray, excuse me.
I was like, Jamal Murray. I'm like, why does that sound familiar? Because it's a basketball player.
Yeah.
But yeah,
especially after he had his career high year, 4.7 yards carry, whatever, 7.7 yards on a catch. He had his, career year last year behind Alvin Kamara with him getting the touches that he has. And then they just let him go because he refused to take less money. You'd think that a team needing a bell cow back, that the Baltimore Ravens would say, hey, come right on over and hop right in and take the carries. But
yeah, I mean, they might have been.
Do you see him ending up on a team here soon?
I'm sure he will, just because with the versatility of backfields nowadays, you need to have a 1-2 punch kind of backfield. I mean, look at like Carolina. Christian McCaffrey's kind of the lead guy. They get Chuba Hubbard in the draft this past year, so he might be the fit there. But I mean, there's teams around the league that kind of have one standout running back that kind of are lacking to have a third down running back, or just somebody to let the running back one get a breather now and then. So I'm sure he will find somewhere, especially like you said, coming off of historically one of his best years that he's had in his career, and especially this late in his career. That's very impressive, as he's definitely one of the older backs in the league. But yeah, it's still kind of baffling that the Saints just released him because they're looking to make room for paying other people or whatever it was, and he refused to take a pay cut, so they got rid of him. And I think that he was like 3.1 million against the cap if the Saints would have kept him beyond week one. That would have been the hit that they would have took for the year. So maybe the pay cut they wanted him to take was way too much. If 3.1 million was cutting it close for them, and they're like, we need to get rid of that much, however much money they're looking to cut him. But yeah, obviously Alvin Kamara is a top 3 running back in the league, but at the same time, injuries can happen at any given time. If Kamara goes out, you got rid of Murray. Now you're technically down to your running back number 3 at that time.
Yeah, which no team wants to get to their RB3.
No, and it's like the Ravens, how they had to bring in Le'Veon Bell. That's what they're down to, is a running back 3 now.
But with the guys out there, you're never, with guys in free agency, you never really should hit that RB3 spot, unless they both go down in a matter of a day, like what happened to the Ravens, which is very unfortunate. And then I'm going to talk, my last point here today on the NFL is the early season odds for MVP. Rookie of the year and coach of the year have came out this season. Patrick Mahomes is the favorite so far as 5-1 odds through Caesar Sportsbook. Aaron Rodgers is second with 10-1. Josh Allen and Tom Brady are each 12-1. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott 16-1. Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford 18-1. They have Ryan Tannehill in there as well, 30-1. Derrick Henry has the best odds of any non-quarterback at 50-1. Rams defensive lineman Aaron Donald has the best odds of any defensive player to win MVP at 125-1. And then for rookie of the years, basically the only 2 that are in big conversation right now are Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. And then early nominees that they think are going to be the coach of the year is Kevin Stefanski for the Cleveland Browns. Expect him to do it again. So it's kind of interesting to see. And then they also said here that besides Mahomes being the favorite at 5-1, Josh Allen has received the most bets so far for the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, that's based off Caesar Sportsbook. I mean, there's dozens of different sports books out there, and I mean, Vegas has different odds of way they. Yeah, but everything's been between Mahomes and Josh Allen. Allen edging out, being the favorite on some sports books and some analysts and some odds in some places, and then obviously Mahomes and others. But um, I mean, even though Mahomes is the favorite, uh, it makes sense that Josh Allen is getting the most bets placed on him, just for the fact that people are expecting for Patrick Mahomes to one up what he's already done. Josh Allen's had a great career. He's trending up very quickly at the quarterback position in the NFL. He has the opportunity to, if he can put up Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady type numbers this coming year, it's hard to sit. It's hard to not argue for him to be MVP. As I mean,
Even with those other guys doing that same thing.
well, it all comes down to, I guess, at the end of who had like yards per throw and less interceptions, better QBR, stuff like that. If it comes down to where you have 3 to 5 guys all putting up those same kind of numbers, close to 5,000 yards, 40 to 50 touchdowns, then it comes down again to less interceptions, better QBR, which are both two areas that Aaron Rodgers has excelled over the past decade, over most quarterbacks in the NFL. So, but at the same time, it's going to be hard for Rodgers to repeat, because again, everybody's expecting him to one up what he did last year, which the only thing he could really do is maybe
Go to the Super Bowl.
go to the Super Bowl, and instead of 2 interceptions have 0. Like there's not much better you can do other than make it the distance.
He could have thrown more touchdowns.
Yeah, because he had like what 40,
and now you have an extra regular
something like that.
season game, so obviously numbers are going to go up.
Yeah,
I just don't see Josh Allen, and until you see Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I feel like until Rodgers hits his decline, Josh Allen doesn't have. He's just got to compete against Mahomes, and Mahomes is too fucking good.
yeah.
Like that Chiefs team is too good. Granted, the Bills are closely treading behind them with the team that they've built, but like it's going to come down to whoever wins the AFC Championship is kind of going to have the nod in votes, whether it's Mahomes or Allen out of the AFC. And kind of the same sort of scenario in the NFC with Rodgers, Brady, and who else, Stafford could have a phenomenal year. Russell Wilson could, there's a handful of guys, but I just don't see Josh Allen at this early in his career being in that upper echelon. He's on his way there, but I just don't see him there yet. Like I constantly see him taking third until one of the top guys either has a shit season, which is completely possible, gets hurt, or they retire, which is completely possible.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert as well, who's on his up and up too,
Mm-hmm.
who's also going to have his name in the conversation. And then how good is Mac Jones going to be? How good is fucking Justin Fields? There's a lot of guys.
Baker Mayfield's another guy.
And he's got the weapons to have an MVP type season. You know what I mean? Like
even Russ. What was Russell? Did it show him on the list for odds?
Yeah, he was on the list.
Because he's one of those guys too that literally the past 3-4 years he's in the MVP conversation up until halfway through the year.
Yeah, but he never had a line, and he's been the most fucking sacked quarterback since he came in the league, which has been unfortunate. He's 18-1. Him and Stafford are tied 18-1.
Okay.
But it's like if they can get a line around him, he's got the weapons now. He's got a DK. You know what I mean? Like he never had that. And now he does, and hopefully his line can take care of him a little bit, because for an amazing of a career that he's had, running for his life basically every single fucking play is phenomenal.
Yeah,
like it's one of a kind. It's one of a kind of what he literally has done in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like being the guy that he can't even see over the line and has to run for his life on every play, who's got a rocket arm. You know what I mean? Like he's the ultimate athlete, and that's why he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure. And that's why too with the Seahawks, like need to protect him more because as he gets older, he's going to be less mobile. Very similar to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson still got 3 to 5 years where he can still do his thing without really worrying about
Yeah,
father time catching him.
depends how many hits he take, with the
Yeah,
NFL more quarterback friendly too, that's less hits that he's going to have to take. So as long as he can go without sustaining a major injury, who knows how long he can fucking razzle dazzle and run the football all over defenses without being touched really.
yeah. And
It's
thinking
interesting.
about
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that's gonna go because like with the Brady talking about how the defense can't really fucking do it. You can't hit people hard anymore. It can't really, can't really do so many things. It's interesting to see now that people who of that echelon and top level players are speaking out with how they feel about the game. Are we going to see the tide start to turn back towards that defensive tide of where they want people fucking crushing guys and all? Obviously, we know about the head traumas and stuff like that, but it's like people want to see, like people like you. If you're playing contact sport, you should expect to get your fucking bell rung.
mm-hmm.
Just simple as that. You know what you're doing. You signed up to do what you're doing. Obviously, those guys are getting paid good paychecks to do it. So I don't see any reason why the NFL should turn more into like a baby league. I feel the softer you get, I feel like that's where you get more injuries, like more significant injuries of like ACL stuff, because players are taking it lightly, and then all of a sudden, boom. Where instead of going full bore, knowing that you can hit a guy as hard as you can without having to ease up, because if you ease up and the other guy doesn't, you're getting your fucking ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like it's so much of a mental game now instead of just going out there and playing.
Yeah. Again, it'd be nice to see it kind of go back to the early 2000s, even into the late 2000s kind of NFL where and even Tom Brady talking about it the other day with how when he played the Ravens, he would not throw over the middle of the field because he didn't want his Ray Lewis to hurt his receivers. Like
Same
that
with
was
AJ Hawk, dude. Same with Brian Urlacher. All
yeah,
those big guys right in the middle, waiting for a crossing route, and you're done. And then the safeties back then, the Brian Dawkins, the Ed Reeds, were the same exact way. Tight end going on a little seam route, wide receiver cutting on a post to the middle. You're getting your head taken off. You know what I mean? And the quarterback couldn't do that to the guy, where now they can, and they're going to get a 15-yard penalty. Like I don't know. I just don't like how these rules continuously are being changed to benefit the offense. Like I understand everybody wants to see touchdowns, like touchdowns. I understand everybody wants, but for the people who actually understand the game and like the game of football, you like to see great defense. Like it's not cool to see 68-50 football games. Maybe in college, but not in the NFL. That makes the product really terrible.
yeah. And that too where you'll start to see marks like this year having that extra that 17th game where you're probably going to see NFL records get broken. Obviously, by halfway through the year, we'll be able to see who's going to be on pace to jump over that mark week 16, or week 17, week 18 once it gets to that point. But yeah, I mean, like you said, at the same time, you don't want to see those high scoring games because then those records that have been held for decades, 100 plus years, all get wiped because one rule was changed in a certain way that allowed these players to score more or do things again to benefit the offense. Because back then they'd be like, well, fuck, if we had all these rules this way. I mean, back in the day, Jim Brown, fucking I mean, even Walter Payton in like the 80s and the 90s, like with like just some of these guys that were super ground and pound that if you take those extra hits that they would sustain in a game away, they'd have that many more touchdowns, that many more yards.
That's just like all-time leading passers should be Drew Brees. Like Tom Brady has benefited mostly from those rules to prolong his career, to break all those rules, obviously because he's the GOAT, so they kind of set it up that way. But like Nobody ever took the fucking hits that Drew Brees did and throw for 5,000 yards every single season, even if your team's 2-14 or if they're 14-2. Like, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, he was the ultimate throwing. Same Peyton Manning. Like, both of those guys are like on that same level of they played. Like, you never saw Drew Brees getting calls. You know what I mean? Like, he was just a little guy just getting fucked up all the time and never complained about it. And it's just like him and Russell Wilson are that same platform. Like, it's incredible what these guys are doing. And they're not getting like that extra benefit of the doubt that some of these other players, the Mahomes, the Rodgers, the Bradys, the faces of the NFL get.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see this year too. Again, one rule adding in where the refs are apparently going to be locking down taunting and trying to get rid of that, where again, that's just another part of the game that you're trying to take away that's been a part of it for years and years that everybody loves to see. Everybody likes to see guys get fired up, laying somebody out or dragging four guys for a first down or taking a guy's ankles on the way to the end zone. Like, people love to see that and love to see the energy that comes after a big play like that. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of if there's that lack of energy this year with if the refs are going to be that stingy about it.
And with fans being back, it's going to be insane how ruckus and crazy energy these stadiums are going to be. I know one thing that I read was, are the Bills going to get penalized for Bills fans that chuck dildos out on the field that they do every single year? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
is that going to be a penalty to the Bills, or how's that going to?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
like it's going to be like Roger said on Tuesday with the McAfee. It's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to be reffed, because he's like, I know there's a handful of guys that already have came through to all the buildings and have talked to people that are going to call it, they know what an excessive taunt is or an excessive, what's excessive. But he goes, like Jamal Williams last year on our team. Every time that he had the ball, every time he got up, he'd shaking his hair, dancing, doing whatever, because he loves football and he was that fucking excited. Like, none of that should be penalized.
no.
But if he would have turned and fucking did that in people's faces and stuff like that, then yeah, that's taking it across the line. And he goes, it's pretty common sense to know what's crossing the line and what's not crossing the line. It's the ref. I guess the refs, hopefully they don't put themselves in the position where they're assessing a 15-yard call on something that's borderline that could fucking change the outcome of a game, where if they just let it go. You know what I mean? Like, it should be way crossing the line. Like,
Yeah. Well,
the Randy Moss pulling his pants down, like that type of, like, it should be like that excessive, or chucking a ball at someone and hitting them in the head, something along those lines, to where it's like, what the people are like, what?
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, he's fucking laughing at him.
One thing I can already see happening this year, and hopefully it doesn't happen to the Packers, and hopefully it's not in like a do or die situation in the playoffs, where taunting that happens pretty much on every play that it happens when a defensive back breaks up a pass against a receiver. They're just like, good energy, like incomplete, like stuff like that. If that's going to be one of those borderline calls to where it's 3rd and long, game on the line, defense gets the stop, cornerback's fired up, just broke up the pass, taunting call gives it.
I guess if he's not standing over the guy, like, fuck you.
Well, yeah, again, that's directed at them, but I'm just saying, like, just simple, like how the guys like wave their arms like incomplete or just get fired up, like stuff like that.
Well, because then it's like the turnovers last year, how we saw team celebrations, how they'd get it and fucking run it all the way down to the end zone, and the team would whatever, like, people love seeing that. Like, that's a fun added aspect to the game. Is that over?
Yeah. Yeah, that's because like taunting already gets called. Like, if you go ahead.
Sorry. No, sorry.
I was gonna say, like, taunting is already administered. Like, it happens now and then where somebody gets called for it. Somebody blatantly in the face of another guy is mimicking at him that like the play that he just made. Those all have gotten called for a very long time. So why the NFL is like, oh, we're going to lock it down even more. It's like, you already have it locked down good enough. If a guy is in the face of another guy trying to demean him, yeah, throw a penalty. But like, again, the team celebrations, the high energy after making a good play. Where's that gray area going to be where people are going to start to get pissed off that like, oh, this is what they're cracking down on this year. So
week 1 we'll usually be able to tell how this is going to go all season long.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, then a couple more points here in the NFL. Vikings sign right tackle Brian O'Neill to a 5-year, $92.5 million extension, making him the second highest paid right tackle in football. The over in Denver, Broncos linebacker Bradley Chubb was arrested yesterday on a warrant for failing to appear in court for traffic violations. The team commented on it, saying they're not worried about it, expecting him to be at practice and be good to go for week 1. Sounds like it's all sorted out already. And then lastly here, with the NFL season kicking off tomorrow night, Cowboys versus Bucs. Who do you got winning the first game of the year? Bucs favored by 8. Who wins, and do they cover the spread?
Oh, yeah, they win, and they cover the spread. The question is, if they do hiccup and fall at all, like they did last year early in the season, is Dallas good enough of a team with Dak coming back and whatever? Are they good enough of a team to capitalize on a misstep by Tampa? Or is it Tampa stumbles and falls? Because you know that they ain't going to trip and fall all game. They can easily put up 21 points in a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So is that, I guess the real question is going to come, it's all going to come down to Dallas, I guess. Are they good enough of a team to keep it a game? And if it's a game, can they capitalize on taking advantage of the opportunities that Tampa, has an error on? But I see Tampa winning. I'm gonna say Tampa wins 35-14.
All right. One thing I'll definitely
14. Definitely by 2 touchdowns.
One thing I'll definitely be able to tell with Dak coming back, obviously he's not going to be at 100% yet.
They said he is.
Well, yeah.
That's why they kept him out all training camp, was so that he was 100% week 1.
Yeah. Well, I guess healthy-wise, but when you miss all those reps in training camp and haven't taken a snap, missing 3/4 of the season prior, it makes you wonder if he's off to kind of a rough start, if Zeke Elliott is going to be the workhorse. So kind of the thing to watch is going to be that amazing run defense of Tampa versus Zeke Elliott. If they can shut him down, I don't see Dak Prescott first game back in almost a year putting the team on his back.
Defense in the NFL, yeah.
If Zeke's going to have to carry the load and Dak's going to have to obviously try to pick up where he left off, but if Zeke Elliott struggles even a little bit, it's game over because Dak isn't going to be able to put the team on his back, I don't think.
But do you agree Tampa covers the spread?
Oh yeah, they'll probably 10 to 17 points. It will probably be the win margin, I'm thinking. And yeah, for this game as well, this season opener will have a historically high ticket price, averaging $582 per seat. Which I guess isn't a surprise, as they always have the pregame concert and they have all the other stuff going on. And
I forgot who they said the concert was.
I haven't seen either.
I heard who it was. Don't remember who it was going to be, but then they do the banner, the Super Bowl banner.
Yeah. Opener concert. Ed Sheeran is going to be performing.
And that motherfucker can sing, so.
Yeah. So you got Ed Sheeran, you got the banners, it's basically like the next best thing to like a Pro Bowl or a Super Bowl is kind of the atmosphere that they create for the NFL season open every year.
Fucking loud.
Especially because that's where the Super Bowl just happened too. So literally the the last game of the last season was at Tampa. The first game of this season is in Tampa.
And they get to raise the banner. And they got all the boys back in town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's set up for them to do it if they're going to do it. Like,
well, they do this every year. Whoever the reigning Super Bowl champ is, they have.
Yeah, but they don't
the
return
game
every
at home.
single one of their starters, though.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's where they help. The NFL helps them to like, oh, you're the reigning Super Bowl champs. We got to hang your banner. We'll have the game at home for you to like. Obviously, if you lose the game,
like the
then
Bucs too. They'll
What's
open
that?
the year at home with the banner.
Who?
The Bucs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's every sport's like that.
Where they have the very first game of the year for the reigning
At home, and you do the banner ceremony. It's like Tampa. They'll have the first game of the season at home where they get to drop the banner.
Yeah, I know. For the Bucs, they actually play the Nets. So you think they would have picked the easier team to play against because they might take the L at home when they're putting their banner up.
But that's the thing about football. Any given Sunday, any sporting event could go one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're going to kind of get an early test of how good Dallas is, because I don't see this being a super tough matchup for Tampa. Obviously, this is kind of more of a test for Dallas to see where they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's all I had for the NFL then. Going into then Wisconsin Wednesday. What you got for Wisconsin sports news?
So I have two things here really quick. Obviously, the Penn State loss 10-16 on Saturday was tremendous. I didn't want to say tremendous. I was going to say horrible to watch. 2 turnovers in the first half when we definitely should have capitalized on points. That was an easy game that we lost right there. Hopefully they bounce back this weekend and pounce Eastern Michigan. That is at home as well. It's going to be a night game under the lights at Camp Randall. So hopefully this is a good tune-up before they got a real test in Notre Dame on September 25th at Soldier Field in the showdown against former quarterback Jack Cohn. It's going to be an interesting game to see how they do there. And that was my first bit. And then the second bit here is so far this season, Wisconsin high school football, they had the first coaches poll come out here. Week 3 is usually where they had their one tough game already. Each team's probably played one tough game already. So Division I Muskego remains number 1 as they extend their high school streak to 40 games in a row. It's pretty impressive. Franklin High School is in second, Kimberly is in third, and then Sun Prairie remains 4th. Division II, Waunakee remains number 1. There's a handful of teams that are right behind them, but there was one team that put up 90-plus points on Pius Catholic High School. So feel bad for that team. Division III, Baraboo still on top. Whitefish Bay, Greendale, Luxembourg, and Menasha round out the top 5. No teams have lost yet. They're all undefeated. D4, Catholic Memorial is number 1. They're still undefeated. Couple teams lost. Little Chute and Two Rivers lost. So they're out of the top 5 now. D5, Wittenberg, Burnham Wood was forced to forfeit week 1 due to COVID. So Lake County Lutheran is at the top. Didn't even know that was a high school in Wisconsin. Division 6, coaches poll remains the same as week 2. Regis is number 1, followed by Colby, Boyceville, Cuba City, Coleman, and then Abbotsford. That's how it rounds out D6. D7, it's been unchanged since last year. Edgar's number 1. They demolish everyone. And then the new 8-player league, Gilman continues to lead the way as Newman Catholic is in second place. So that's all I got.
Sounds good. It's crazy.
Did you know that
D6.
they added Wisconsin added there's boys volleyball now?
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I was looking at a whole bunch of shit. I was like, oh my God, they added a handful of sports
Is it
that
like, is
weren't
it a summer,
around.
is it a fall sport? Like,
Fall.
oh,
It's indoor.
which I guess, I mean,
'Cause
bigger
you could play
schools, you can,
both. Because you could double sport. You could play 2 sports in the same season.
yeah. Well, I suppose, I guess for
Because volleyball
volleyball,
games are probably Tuesday, Thursday, and football is
yeah,
Friday.
yeah.
It would suck. You wouldn't be able to do hockey and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be one that wouldn't correlate.
Plus, to be tough practicing. Obviously, depending which sport you're more interested in, that's where you're going to be practicing. Because if you have games Friday, you're only practicing Mondays and Wednesdays then. So if you practice one day at one and one day at the other, I feel like that's not, you're not getting a whole lot. So you almost got to practice both days at one one sport. Um yeah, that's interesting.
Mhm.
That's crazy. For D6, you said Regis, Boyceville, Colby, those are all like 30 minutes away from each other. Surprised Coleman's up there. I feel like they're
Yeah, they were 6th.
oh, because I can't remember how far they got last year, but I
I
haven't
thought
really
they
been.
made it to state. I thought they made it to state last year and lost.
No, they in wrestling they did. Football they got to the level right before state. I want to say either the third or fourth level. Well, because last year they didn't even have like they didn't have like a the state was all it was weird. They didn't have like the regular levels. It was like every game was played at a neutral site. Nobody had home field advantage. Like I don't know. I remember seeing about it last year. At least for D6 it was. I don't know if like the top divisions were still on par like a normal year, but I know in D6 Coleman's year was really weird with the playoffs. Where they kind of had like they had like two pools and then it was like instead of having four levels and then state, it was like two levels and then the winner pool A played the winner pool B, and that was like Division 6 winner last year or something. It was weird.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just looking at some of these volleyball teams, like for the men's side. There's not a whole bunch. There's probably 30 or 40 teams, but
They're probably all like
there's none
schools
around.
combining and stuff like that.
Well, there's a lot of Madison. All the Madison schools have it. Waukesha schools, Appleton. Yeah, like
You're like
Wauwatosa.
D1,
not-
D1, D2 schools, pretty much, probably.
Yeah, like the Fox Valley is Appleton East, Fond du Lac, Caconic, Kimberly, Appleton North, Appleton West, Nina, and Notre Dame.
Yeah, those are all D1 schools.
And Cacona's 13-0. They're number 1 in men's volleyball. 13-0.
That's impressive.
Yeah. That's cool that they actually have that. You know, every Olympic sport should be a fucking option.
Yeah. Yeah,
but the school has to afford it. So
yeah, that's very true. But I mean, if you already have the gym, you have the net, you have all the equipment, you just got to get new jerseys for guys instead of girls.
And no spandex shorts.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, for my Wisconsin stuff, kind of circling back to Badgers again, losing their game to Penn State last Saturday. They fall from 12 to 18. Do you think that's a good spot for them? Should they be lower? Should they be higher? Or is 18 a good spot for them after that loss?
I'm glad it's 18, but realistically, I feel like it should be lower than that.
Yeah, I was honestly expecting
for how good we were hyped up to be top 6 at the end of the season to lose week 1 to a 19th ranked team. We should be out of the top 25, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting them to be like
25 better teams than Wisconsin Badgers football right now.
Probably. Yeah, based off of week 1, I would definitely say that. Yeah, I was thinking they'd be like 19 to 22. That was kind of the range I was expecting them to be in. So 18 is higher than I expected.
They need a kick in the ass to get out of the top 25 so they can actually play.
Mm-hmm. And then the other point for Wisconsin is the Badgers men's basketball schedule was released this week. Conference play for the team kicks off against Indiana on December 8th.
That'll be a tough game.
Yeah, they play Indiana twice. They play Ohio State. I think they play Michigan State twice. Michigan. I mean, Big Ten's trending as one of the better conferences in men's basketball right now, to where it was kind of Michigan and Wisconsin were like really the only two. Indiana, Michigan State have good teams now too. So
Yeah, Big Ten's known for the defense, and the ACC is known for your offense.
Sounds good then. Moving over to the MLB. The Brewers answered Monday's 12-0 loss yesterday, putting up 10 runs and pitching the shutout as well. The final game of the series takes place tonight, and then they have their first off day in 2 weeks, and then they have their weekend series with the Cleveland Indians. The San Diego Padres had a roller coaster of a game last night. Going into the seventh inning, Padres pitcher Blake Snell had a perfect game within reach, and he'd go on to lose both the perfect game and the no-hitter in the seventh, and the team would also go on to lose 4-0. So in a game that the Padres, getting down to this point of the year, September baseball, the Padres still kind of in the hunt for that second wild card spot, but when you have a perfect game going into the seventh and you end up losing the game, those are games that you can't let slip away from you. Tampa Bay Rays, Nelson Cruz becomes the oldest player in league history to have a 30 home run season at age 41. That's crazy. 41 years old, still giving her out there. Albert Pujols goes yard in his return to St. Louis on the way to a Dodgers 7-2 win. And lastly, here after examination, Mets ace Jacob deGrom's elbow appears to be perfectly intact, though the team still does not have a timetable for his return on the year, if he's going to even return this year.
And without their number one pitcher, they're only 4 games back from the Sox.
I know. They've been hanging on right there in the
They've
East.
been hot. They're 8-2 over their last 10.
Hmm.
And I was just pulled up the standings ever since you said that the Padres dropped that game. And as it stands right now, Padres are out. They're not getting in.
Yeah.
Because right, it's top 5, 6.
6. Because it's all 4 division winner or 5.
It's 5.
3 division
winners and then
2
the
wild
next 2.
cards. Yeah.
Should be Braves, Brewers, Giants, Dodgers, Reds.
Mm-hmm. And the Cardinals are right there too now. I want to say
They're at 6. They're 5 games back from catching the Reds, and the Padres are a game and a half behind the Reds. And then you have the Phillies and the Mets, who are right there, with catching the Reds as well, if not winning their division, because they're 2.5 and 4 back.
Well, I feel like for that division, it's going to be you have to win the division to get in. I feel like there isn't going to be a second team to come out of the NL East. It's going to be either the Reds or the Padres are going to come out.
And then it's looking like it's going to be the Astros, White Sox, Rays, Yankees, and Sox.
Yeah, on the AL side, it's kind of
the East is always loaded. The Blue Jays are right there in the mix, a couple games back. Yeah, Mariners and A's are right there too. So
I feel like the Mariners have been playing really good lately. I feel like every time I'm watching Sports Center, they're on a
6-4 over their last 10.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like they're all like they're always 5+ games in their last 10, and they're always winning games that they need to win at this point of the year, it seems like.
Hottest team in baseball is Toronto Blue Jays.
Sounds good then. Throw things over to you for the NHL.
Just only 1 point here. Well, 2 quick. Ottawa Senators extend GM Pierre Dorian through the 24-25 season, and the Florida Panthers are offering name, image, likeness deals to all female athletes at Florida Atlantic University. So shout out to the Florida Panthers for getting behind, female athletics. This is now
Again,
the third college that they've.
I was going to say, I feel like every other week, Panthers are throwing their name in the hat, signing in.
Third one college that they're now giving name, image, likeness deals to. So shout out to the Florida Panthers.
Sounds good. Doesn't look like anything's come as breaking news over the past 45 minutes here anywhere. So sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by. We really appreciate all the love and support that we continue to get week in and week out from all you guys. Yeah, we will be back on Friday. Don't know if it's going to be the normal time or if it's going to be a little bit later. We will figure that out for you guys. But yeah, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to all the social media platforms found in the description link below. You can also give us those 5-star ratings on Apple and Google Podcasts to help us move up the charts. Yet again, we do this for you guys, and we continue to appreciate, all the love and support. And we will see you Friday.
See you Friday.
Can't wait to break down the NFL game.